So I'm going to wire up this little LED package for my Ikea lantern. And what I have here is the body that holds the battery, the top part which is going to hold a switch, and the base which is the battery cover. I've got a few tools here: soldering iron, wire strippers, caliper, might not need that, but we may, some Allen wrenches, jeweler's screwdrivers, don't think I'll need those, and then the other material that I have is some super glue, 3 pieces of wire. Each of these are 3 inches long, or about 8 centimeters. This is really going to be 2 pieces of wire. I stripped the ends off, but I need 1.5 inches or 4 centimeters each of bare copper wire. And then I've got some M3 by 10 metric screws, batteries. Let's see, I think that's it. Oh, and my LED strip here. So these are self-adhesive LED strips, and we're going to take this strip and wrap it around there. I have here my circuit diagram, and I got a soldering iron, some solder, a drill, my drill bits, and I think that's all we need to get going. So first thing I need to do is clean up some holes here. I'll start with these holes in the cap. The wires are going to go through these holes, and I'm just going to 0.1. So I've got this drill in the chuck, and make them go through all the way. So these are the holes in the cap for the wire, and we can check this out and make sure that wire goes through there. Yeah, no problem. And then I also have some holes in the body. Again, you can look down in here, maybe you can see it down in there, and there's holes in there, but when it's printing the first layer, they're not quite all the way through. There's some slag or overlap, whatever. So I have my holes through there. I can see they go through, pass that wire through. Yeah, we're good. So that's it for the little holes for the wire. The holes are where the screws are going to mount into the body, and I just need to clean these holes out a little bit. I'm using M3 screws, and I'm just going to let those screws self-tap into these holes. So I drilled the holes out to 2.6 millimeter, which I think will be good for tapping. Yeah, this seems to fit in there nicely. And let's see, I probably want to clean these up, so we'll get a 3 millimeter drill bit, and we'll let's see how well this these screws tap in here. So this is an M3 screw, and I think it's a 2.5 millimeter Allen wrench. So it seems to do pretty well to tap itself into that hole. So that one fits real nice. So these aren't self-tapping screws, they're just regular M3 cap screws. Some feels like it's going in a little sideways, but I think that's good. So screws tap themselves nicely into the holes. And now we're ready to do some wiring. Let's see here. Let me start with the cap. So let's strip 2 inches off of this wire. Send it through again. And yeah, here's really what I was looking for on this. So I think I have some needle nose pliers somewhere. Where did they go? Here we go. Now I'm going to pull these wires tight through here so that they sit down in this little groove that's on the other side. So I have a little groove here because I don't want these wires contacting anything else. I may put a little strip of electrical tape over it or something. But okay, so now these wires I can twist together. Like so. And I want these wires to stick up on this side because they're actually going to be making contact with the battery. So I have them sticking through like that. Let me get another piece of wire.
On here.
So this one clearly wasn't as long as the other one. Okay, so these should, as the 9-volt battery sits in here like this, and then it'll series up these double A's. So I got these 2 guys going to the battery. Like so. And I probably need to fold these over somehow. See how much room I need to cut off of them. Because clearly I don't need them that long in there. So here we can see, let me get a marker, mark how much I want to cut off of there. So I just need enough for them to come through and bend over. The batteries will touch them in there. I'm assuming you can see in there. So I just marked those with Sharpie. So the red one, I want the red one on this side. So now if I push my battery down in there, it should just bend that thing over. So there, the contacts are bent in there. And this battery is going to fit like this. the 9 volt is gonna go like this. Make sure I got my contacts correct. Negative, positive, yep, looks right to me. And then we're gonna put this baby in here like so. And then when I put this on, I should have essentially a 12 volt battery. And I can test that with a meter. And we'll just put the meter on the leads here, and I got nothing. So I got to do a little work here. Oh, there we go. 12 volts. Looks good to me. Alright, we're going to call this a 12 volt battery pack. Now I'll put these screws back in. Okay, so batteries are in the case, and now that we have it buttoned up real tight, let's take another measurement real quick, make sure it's where it's supposed to be. Okay, I got a red wire here and a black wire, and I should have 12 volts across there. And what do I have? I got something. There we go, 11 and a half. So this is, yep. Now our switch is going to go through here, and before I can wire it up, I need it in the cover here. So it goes through like this and just fits in there. And this might be a little tricky trying to get this thing soldered up inside this cover. I'm going to have to make sure not to hit the plastic with the solder gun. And yeah, it's going to be a trick. So put the retaining ring on there. Okay, so that switch is not going anywhere. This switch has a little LED on it. That's why it's got 3 contacts. And I wasn't paying attention to the contact diagram, so let me take it back out. Because you have to hook it a certain way. And so that's the supply. Okay. So our battery is going to go on this one, and then our load is going to go here, and then return so that we can light this LED is going to go on that top one. So this wire is the wire for the LEDs. So these 2 wires are going to pass through these holes right here. Let's see if we can get this. The common on this one is going to go with the common here, so I'm just going to twist these together. Ring iron. all good. Okay, switched up now to the Weller soldering iron because it doesn't blow hot gas all over the place. And I'm thinking I should be able to make a good solder joint here. And that's what I get for thinking, right? So back to my old Navy days here. Bigger the blob, the better the job, right? So that's what that one looks like, a big blob. Well, it ain't pretty, but it gets the job done. Okay, so that is the negative side of the battery. And then I need my load, which is my LEDs. And so we're gonna match that one up right there. Trying to get a good solder joint there. Yeah, that looks good. I'll make sure not to get a cold solder joint. Been there, done that lots of times. Okay, so the switch was on and actually saw that the LED was turning on when I touched this, so that was a good sign. Wasn't what I really meant to do, but okay. Okay, so to do. And so now I just need to measure my voltage. So I shouldn't have any power here. And that's a good sign. Then when I turn the switch on, I should have 12 volts. I like it. Looks good. So I'm ready to glue this all together because I'm not going to have to mess with that anymore. And with this ABS plastic, super glue works really well. And so I'm just going to put a little glue along the edge here. That should do it. And this thing is keyed so that I only put it on so it stays nice and aligned. So I think I'll have to squeeze this together for a minute or two. So that's a good sign. It's all glued together and it's still, wiring still works. Okay, I'll close up the glue. And yeah, that's nice and solid piece there. And then the next thing I have to do is I'm going to solder this on here. So again, my red is at the bottom, and that's 12 volts at the bottom. So the first thing I want to do is tin these leads so that it's easy to solder up to the wires. Okay, so I just put a little dab of solder on there. Let's take a look at it, make sure it looks good. And I kind of like to use this as a sort of a heat sink. So let's see, 12 is the positive is on the bottom here. So I want this to go like something like yo. Okay, first one is on there. Just like it's supposed to do. And then we can push these wires in. And then we're gonna, here's what we're gonna do with this. So the intent here is just to wrap this completely around like this. And so I'm just going to wrap this around until I have the whole thing covered in lights. And it looks like that's it right there. So these LED strips have terminating points on them. And we're going to terminate this one right here. Okay, so there's our little LED package. And that is going to go inside my Ikea lantern.